All right, welcome to the Society Gal workshop today. We have Rosivonne with us today, an awesome special guest. It's been awesome to see her grow, and we've been on podcasts together and so many awesome things. She has so much to share. So she's going to be talking all about brands today, and she has a beautiful presentation for you and a workbook to follow along as well. So I'm going to hand it over to Rosivonne for today, and we'll end in about 1 hour.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you for having me here. I'm so excited to share some of my acknowledgement so it can help your brands to grow. I'm gonna share here in the chat. Okay. Sorry. Wait, because I want to share with you in the chat the worksheet so you can work through the workshop about everything we're gonna talk about. So let me just put it right here. It's a brand's visual worksheet and will help you to define your visual identity design. Okay, let me know if you all can see it, if you can download it, if it's good, because it will be really helpful so you can work later on with your brand's visual identity. Even though you're gonna be able to design your brand's personality, because visual identity goes along with brand's personality. But let's get down to business. Here, okay. Well, as Dana said, my name is Rosivonne. I'm from Santiago Los Caballeros, Dominican Republic. I have a major in advertising, graphic design, also a master's in art therapy, a diploma in digital marketing, as a diploma in senior management. I just got recently a diploma in real estate. So I'm playing maybe too much things. But yes, I have like around 10 years of experience with working with brands and helping entrepreneurs in their venture to discover the unique factor that makes their brands different and successful, and with that, designing amazing and impactful visual identities. So, what is a visual identity? It is the key of this workshop, why it's important and what it is, and how it helps your brand to grow, to impact in the market that you are. Visual identity is the collection of visual elements that represent your brand. It includes logo, color palette, typography, imagery, and layout. It's all the visual that you use to show to the world your brand. All the things you choose that visually you can see it, so you can show it to the world. It doesn't matter the platform or the format, but somehow it represents your brand. That's visual identity. And basically needs to be cohesive in different ways. For example, a determined color palette, as well as a determined well-designed logo, and we all be able to see that through the workshop. Why it doesn't matter, why it's important. So here I think as entrepreneurs, most of us have heard a lot about branding, brand and visual identity, right? Does any of you have heard these terms before while you've been developing maybe your brands, your businesses? Nowadays, there's a ton of information out there about it, but it can be confusing. It can be like, if we don't manage those terms well, it can be confusing, and we don't know how to use it, how to apply it to our businesses, how to make it work and make work with our brands. So first, brand is what gives identity and meaning to a specific product or service to differentiate it from the competition. It what gives the reason of existence for your brand. It basically, it starts with a name to put it to your product, to your service, because it needs to differentiate from other existing brand like the same. Then comes visual identity, which is the visual expression, what communicates your brand's identity. All the characteristics that make different your product, your service from others, you communicate it through visual identity with the elements that we just talked about before. And then comes branding. Branding is the management of all these elements, brands and visual identity. You have to, it says it's the intelligent strategy and creative management of all the differentiating elements of a brand's identity. It's how you manage all of these elements, what we said before, and all together shape perception, your brand's perception, how people, your customers perceive your brand. This is what is branding. Brand is what gives identity to your product, your service, to your business. Visual is what communicates. It's how you communicate those specific characteristics. And branding is how you manage it, so people can have a perception of your brand, can be for good or for worse, depending how you manage it, right? So there's something, it's impossible to build a good brand and cannot exist a good branding strategy without having a strong visual identity. For make branding work, for make that a strategy you use as with marketing or in social media, it depends on the visual identity, because you need to show something. People need to see something about your brand. The first connection, the first interaction your brand might have with your customer is through visual. It's through any kind of visual element. Could be a package, could be the logo, could be a post, could be something, but it always comes visual. And human beings, we are visual. We fall in love with things by the first perception, by the thing we see in the beginning. So that's why visual identity it's so important. So here I have 5 points of why visual identity matters. First, it's like love at first sight. First impressions happen in seconds. You have at least 3 seconds to make your customer to fall in love with your brand, with the thing that they see about it. As I said before, it could be the logo, it could be the package, it could be a post, it could be what else? Something that they can see. And if it's appealing and if it's well elaborated and well designed, can be like love at first sight. They will like fall in love, they will go through, they will would like to get more information about your brand if they like it. 2, consistent visual equals brand trust. Why? Because people take more seriously businesses with a consistent visual. For people, when they see a brand that in every platform that appears, it has the same colors, the same logo, the same elements, feels professional, feels like it's something real, that it's something does exist. And it doesn't matter if you work your product back at your kitchen or your backyard, or you're giving your services right from your bedroom. But if you have this consistent visual, you build trust. It doesn't matter where you're located. People like to feel like they're buying, that they're paying for something real, and visual can give them that even before they start like interacting with the brand. Number 3, a strong visual identity increases recognition and recall. Why do we know those famous brands around the world? Even since we see like a small element that belongs to that brand, we can recognize it from right away. Like we see something about Coca-Cola, we know the red color that Coca-Cola uses, the typography they uses. And even when they use a small element that belongs to them, you can recognize that it's Coca-Cola brand, because they're consistent. Everywhere they show their product, everywhere they show their brand, it's the same colors, it's the same elements, it's the same type of images, photos, even the ads they use it, even they have the same feeling. It's all the same. That's why people can recognize quickly, oh, it's about this brand. And you want that for your brand. You want people when they see the logo or a small part of any of your visual identity, you want people to recognize it quickly. Like, oh, this belongs to, oh, I know, I remember, I saw this in this store. You want that. You want them to think about your brand right away from the very beginning when they're thinking about candles, for example. Oh, I need to buy a candle. And they saw something about it, it reminds your brand. You want that. That's what we're looking for with visual identity, with the consistent. People remember your brand right in the moment they think about your product or the service you're giving. Number 4, if they love what they see, they'll share it. Especially us women, we like to share things that we like. Oh, we saw an ad on Instagram, for example, like a jewelry ad, and we love the whole picture they using to sell that necklace or something, and we love it. And you say, "Oh, I love that necklace. I love everything about this picture," and you might share it with your friend, with your family. When the people love, when the people like, when the people appeal, they feel attracted to what they're seeing, they're more able to share it with someone else in a positive way, of course. And that increases that your brand will be, again, recognized and recalled the whole time. And number 5, and not least important, when good design, when the design of your visual identity is good, it helps you charge more. Why? Because you feel more confident to show your brand. You feel more confident. It's like when you dress, are well dressed, you want people to see when you are well dressed in an event, you are more confident to show yourself, right? You are more confident to show to the world what you have to give because you feel good in it. It's the same with our brands. When our brands are well dressed, we feel more confident to show it and even to charge the right price of it. We won't feel like ashamed, because our brand will look more professional, will look more eye appealing, and that gives you confidence. And you will say to everyone, like, yes, this candle costs this and this service costs, because you invest in your dressing, in your brand's dressing. It's the same with us. When we invest in our dress for an event, we want everyone to see it. We want to show us ourselves. We want everyone to hear us. It's the same with our brands. So that's why visual identity matters. It helps us to position our brands into the market with confident, trustworthy, professional. It has our brands start having an amazing perception, just like the big brands we know out there. So, how do we know when our visual identity might be needing a change? It doesn't matter if you don't have one or you might have one. I don't know if any of the assistants here have a business, a brand, or is developing a business. Does any of you have, I would like to hear that if you're having or are in the process of developing a brand. It doesn't matter what it is.
I am. I'm just starting to put together a website and an Instagram page for an event business.
An event business, amazing. And do you have any, you have your visual identity defined, the logo, color palette, typography, all the visual already?
Not completely, and that's what I'm working on now, which is why this conversation is interesting.
Awesome. So it doesn't matter if you don't have anything. This workshop will help you to get into in the north. But unless you have it, you can talk about you can think about these 3 questions. If you have your visual identity, for the other ones that might have their businesses, there's 3 questions you might want to ask you about your brand, and that will give you the north if you might need a visual identity redesign or completely a new one. And the first question is, what do you think people could say about your brand right in this moment? How it looks? What is the perception you might give to your customers if they see how your brand looks right now? That could be one. I don't know if someone's would like to say something, or I'll keep going. It's okay.
Sure, I can provide some input. I have a business as a life coach, as an intuitive life coach, and
Okay.
offer a lot of services, including tarot card readings and astrology consultations. So I had a website. I did have all the colors kind of right. I used a lot of pink because my target audience is women. And now I'm actually moving everything over to a new website for other reasons. And so I'm working with all of these things to make it look attractive. And so, yeah, I'm looking to trying my best to make it cohesive and all the colors, the right colors and everything.
Awesome. And yeah, you are in the process. So you do you have a perception that you think people might have right now of your brand as a coach?
Yeah, so I mean, I had a website originally. It was looking fantastic. It was looking really great, and I heard lots and lots and lots of great things about it. And now I'm actually moving it over to a new website because I'm trying to have a different way of presenting my information. So I'm, focusing more on the coaching, less on the tarot card readings and the astrology consultations, which are just one time. So I'm changing the whole layout, and so right now I'm doing it all by myself. So I mean, it's not ready yet. So I'm actually working on it right now as we speak. So no one has seen it yet. So
Well, yes, you might want to ask people later when you have everything set, because right now you're under construction, right? We can say that your visual identity for your brand right now is under construction. So, but there's a thing you might ask yourself, and remember, this is a strategic. And this is another question that I always do: is how do you show your brand? Is being a strategic, creative, and you might ask yourself that, and you might want to keep in mind that now that you're creating everything. And for those who are building their brands right now, think about it. What are you doing to build your brand in the moment? It's being a strategic, creative, interesting, will appeal to your clients. And it doesn't matter, take into consideration the platforms, the formats, even the content creation for it, right? Because building a brand and its visual identity is something about a strategy, and to make fall in love the people you want to buy your products, your services. And another question also you can do to yourself about your brand is, can you identify the elements that represent your brand visually? Do you have any elements that can represent your brand? If you don't, what are those elements you would like to represent your brand? Because remember, visual, it's about attracting, it's about communicating, it's about let people know what you're offering and what can do for them. Can you mention a local brand that might reunite this characteristic? A local brand that you like and you love to go to, might could be a store that you usually go to buy stuff. Does it have these appealing elements that make you go over there or choose them every time you go over and over again? Does anybody have this special place?
From what you're talking about, I like Starbucks.
Okay.
I gave up drinking coffee. That's a different story, but I like their logo. I like their presentation. I like all of that.
And how does it make you feel when you go in there? What's the feeling of the experience with all the visuals and all the elements you can enjoy every time you go to a Starbucks? How does it make you feel?
There is a feeling of a little bit of sophistication. There is a feeling of positivity. There is a distinct difference between a Starbucks and a McDonald's.
Of course.
Like there's a little element of sophistication which I like.
Yeah, you
And
feel so.
I really like their logo. I like the picture of the woman, in green. The logo, the logo is really, really great.
And one of the things I like, you said, it's the sophistication. You feel sophisticated every time you get a coffee in a Starbucks, and that's one of the benefits that the brand gives you with the whole branding they are doing, and that includes the elements of the logo, even the packaging, the fact that they write your name right in the cup. Those are visual elements that make people fall in love and go over there over and over again. Every time they think about a coffee, they think about Starbucks right away, because the whole branding, the whole feeling they having, the whole experience, it's good. So visual identity helps you to start giving your customer that from the very beginning they see something about your brand. Starbucks, every time you see even the small logo, the green logo, you think about nice, sophisticated coffee. For example, it's an example. So yeah, that's an exercise you might want to do. Thinking about those brands around you that you go to the stores, that you buy over there, the whole experience about everything about them, how they makes you feel. And you might want to add that to your brand now that you're building it. Okay, well, here I have a real world example. And to start, which of the logos looks more trustworthy and professional here? I would like to hear someone. The ones on the left or the one on the right? Which of the logos do you think looks more professional for you? Like once you see it quickly.
The one on the very bottom on the left is professional.
Okay. The one on the bottom on the left?
Yeah, the one that says Zap Deli Sweets, but on the bottom one.
Okay. It looks more trustworthy and professional than the other ones, right?
Top above it, it looks small. It doesn't look like I can read the name clearly, Zap Deli. So I like I guess you're talking about these two, right? The top and the bottom. Among those two, I would pick the bottom one.
Okay, that's good. Anyone else? Anyone else want to give their opinion about it? Well, that's the deal with the visual identity. This is an example. This is for I worked this visual identity a couple months ago for a client. They have this bakery based on their own home. They bake everything in their kitchen, and they have a lot of years working with this brand. And these two logos on the left are the ones they tried to use at the beginning. They made it themselves, but they didn't feel like it was representing what the brand they were trying to build. Didn't look like they wanted to what they wanted to show to the world, what the brands were all about. So they contact me through Instagram, and in the beginning they wanted to do a very simple and delicate logo, because they wanted to show to their customers that their sweets, their cakes they were making were delicate. They were look very well appealing, tasteful, they had good quality, but they felt that these two logos never showed that. So I listened to them and I worked this logo. This is the logo they're using right now. I designed also a pattern, which is part of their imagery, so they can use it on their packaging or whatever they wanted to use. And it has these bakery elements. I hand drawn them, all of them, just for them to make them exclusive. But you can get patterns from the internet or stock photos. Also, I worked this color palette One thing they had for sure is to have this turquoise blue and this lilac purple. They wanted those colors, like, yeah, we want it on the logo. But a color palette needs to have from 3 to 5 colors to make complementary and make more appealing, visually appealing, the visual identity. Here I design also, these are the typographies they use for the whole visual, for the different arts they use, the cards, posts, even for the packaging, because they have stickers for the packaging. So one thing is, that's what visual identity helps you to do. It gives you a cohesive visual, cohesive feeling. It communicates very in a concrete way what your brand is and what your brand has to offer and what makes it different from other brands around. So before we get into the point in how we build our own visual identity, I would like you to present the key elements of a strong visual identity. And we start with the logo. It's the face. It's the first thing we usually see from any brand around. The logo is the face. I always like to call the face, like the receptionist of the brand. When you get into an institution or any company, the first thing you see is the receptionist right in the front, right? And the logo, it's like that. And depending how the logo is designed, you will have a perception of the brand. Another important key element is the color palette. As I said before, it needs to be composed by 3 to 5 colors that complement themselves, and they have to get along with their brand's personality. I'll let you know why later. Typography, it's the letter that you will use across all the arts, all the ads, any kind of content you create everywhere that you show your brand. You need to use the same typography, because typography or font letter are the tone of voice of your brand. It's like the voice it's their voice, but visually speaking. It's your brand's voice, but visually speaking. Here we have another important element, which is imagery. With imagery, we communicate to our customer the feeling and story, what your brand is all about, what can give you, how it makes you feel, what is the experience you might live once you get your product or service. Imagery can be photos, can be stock photos, or you can take your own photos, and also can be illustrations, drawing. But one thing is, you need to make sure that the imagery you're using goes along with your brand's personality. For example, this photo here, I remember I chose it for a coffee brand that I just designed at the beginning of the year. It's a local coffee producer. They sell the coffee brand in a small store here. But for the content creation, I used stock photos. And the owner of the brand wanted to show that their coffee is so soft that it's so appealing for women. In this case, the owner of the brand, it's a mom like me, and moms, we like to take our first sip of a cup of coffee at the beginning of the day, and we want to enjoy that moment. We feel like happy when we're having our coffee or reading our book with a cup of coffee. It's like a joyful moment we're drinking our coffee. So my client wanted to show that through the photos she uses. In this case, for example, this is a photo of a woman in her kitchen trying her first cup of coffee, maybe enjoying it before she starts her day. That's what I mean when you have to be careful when you're choosing your imagery. It doesn't matter if from stock or you create it yourself, because it counts on a story. It tells a story. It tells the benefits of your brand. It tells something deeper because images tell more than words. So you need to be cohesive. By the time you choose the images, it goes along with your brand's personality and the whole feeling you want to give. And here's another important element that all brands need to have. It's the brand guidelines. This document is so important whenever you try to hire a professional designer. Make sure they give you this. This document gives you all the important elements that compose your visual identity. For example, the color palette with its color code, the different layouts of the logo that can be used in the different formats that you wanted to reproduce it, the typography, the name of each typography you want to use, even samples of mock-ups on how your brand will look depending on the format you reproduce. This document protects your brand from being distorted in the different formats. For example, you want to make t-shirts with the logo of your brand, and the company that makes the t-shirts don't know the exact color codes of your visual identity. You want to make sure that the t-shirts go along with the whole visual identity you'll be using for years. So this brand guideline help that company, the t-shirt company, to know which exact colors he will use for the t-shirt he will make for you. For example, if it's a pink, he will know it's the exact same color of pink or tone of pink he needs to use. He will know how to use the logo depending on the place of the t-shirt he will put it. The thing is, it's to protect your brand from being like change and maintain the consistency everywhere. So make sure next time if you try to hire a professional designer, so he can give you this. This is so important. You can give it that document to any company that you might want to use for any form of packaging, maybe pencils or ad printing, whatever you want to reproduce your brand. This document helps you to maintain the integrity of your brand. And also another thing you need to know about the elements of your brand is emotional connection. They'll give you like this emotional connection. Well, not you, but your customers will have this emotional connection. They communicate, for example, colors communicate feelings. I don't know if you have heard before about color psychology, that colors have communicate feelings depending of the tone of the color. For example, one of the most common is red. That red is associated with rage, with passion, with strong emotions. Or for example, orange is associated with youth, with vibrations, with someone happy. That's what colors do. For example, consistency, as we talked before, it's confidence, trust. The images give you the feeling, the vibe that we just talked about. So that's the role of every element for a strong visual identity. And how we establish that, we're going over there. But first, I want to make a stop here. I said that logo is the face of your brand. Most of the times, people have the first interaction or connection with the brand through the logo. They see the logo, whatever, in the paper, in the cardboard, in the social media. And what a logo is. The logo is a visual representation that encapsulates the essence of a brand, a graphic element that identifies a company, a project, an institution, or a product. It's the face that identifies your brand from the others. So a good logo must respond to a good or well-designed logo must respond to these three main things. This is how you know a logo it's well designed and it's communicating correctly or it's identifying correctly your brand from others. First, aesthetic should be aesthetic. I mean, pleasing to the eye appealing. People might needs to like what they're seeing. It's important to be appealing. And I want to ask you something. What comes into your mind when you see a logo that doesn't look quite well? Have you seen logos that you stare at them and take a while to understand what they're trying to communicate, what it's all about? Have you seen those a brand logo that makes you feel like makes you think what's going on here? I don't quite understand what I'm seeing here. Have you seen any? No? Yes? I think we all have seen logos that doesn't look very well, and it's because it might not responding to functionality. For example, functionality, it's about to be versatile and scalable, that your logo can work out whatever you want it to reproduce, and people will understand whatever it's representing. I don't know if I did myself clear. For example, you want to reproduce your logo in a napkin because you're doing an event and you want to logo be everywhere and you're trying to reproduce in a napkin. So a very functional logo needs to look well even in the napkin. People need to understand the composition of the logo, what they're representing. They need to read well the name of the brand. It's all about functionality. People need to understand the logo wherever it's reproduced, and they needed to do it quickly. People don't have time to stare at stuff, because once they're starting staring the logo for a while, they're losing time, they're losing interest in that brand. They want to watch it, have a feeling, understand it, and then after that, go to get more information about the brand. If it's not, there's something wrong about it. And another characteristic that a good logo design must respond to is timeless. The logo needs to resist the passing of time as well as the market changes and all the business challenges. What I mean with this is the logo needs to last long as much as it can, because you don't want to invest in a logo right now or in a visual identity right now, and then 6 months later you have to change it and reinvest in it because people won't because it was under a trend and the trend passed and it looks old-fashioned or does not adjust to the brand's personality. It needs to go through time. It needs to look like it's always on. I don't know how to say that in English, but a timeless logo always looks good. Whatever the trends comes and go, needs to resist even trends, because trends are temporary. They pass, they last even 1 week, 2 weeks, months, or maybe 1 year. But you don't want that for your logo. You want people to remember how many years you use it, because it's about recognition, recall, people thinking about your brand right away. So here's the good point. Here's the how to. How do we start working with our visual identity? How we define our brand? How we make our brand impactful from all its part? Well, I'm gonna say here, and you can work that on your worksheet. The worksheet I passed you through the chat. There's an exercise at the beginning that you will start defining your brand's personality, essence, the whole foundation, the core of your brand. And that is what you're going to communicate through visual identity. Sometimes our visual identities don't work with our brands because we don't have this established. We don't have this already defined. So How we do it? Well, first, brand's personality. How we start defining our brand's personality. Think about your brand as a person, as a human being. Is it cheerful? Is it elegant? Is it a luxurious person? Sober, serious, smart? Start giving to your brand those characteristics as if it were a human. Think about it like a human. How is it? So that way you can design its personality, its essence. Then think about the mission and vision. This is what gives to the brand their purpose. Why the reason of its existence? The mission. Why your brand exists? What do you want to achieve with your brand? What is looking for? What is the goal for this brand? And the vision. Where you going with this brand through the years? Where you see your brand going? Where all the achievement you want to get with your brand through time. So mission and vision, it gives you like the north or where you're going, and will help you to build a brand that lasts. And third, values, what your brand stands for, what your brand believes, what are those beliefs, what those values it stands for. Is it you can see it during the companies. For example, when you go into the company, sometimes companies have in their main walls, when you get in reception, the mission, the vision, and the values. The values are those things that the company stands for. That's why they exist. For example, your brand is a very creative and empathetic. Is it responsible, respectful, and they go along for eco-friendly, maybe? What are those values? What your brand looks for? But even before you do that, you need to do something really important, and most of the entrepreneurs, sometimes they don't do it. That's why their brands sometimes they struggle to make it last in the market. It's because they don't do research. We need to research our market. First, get to know our clients, which are our ideal clients, to who you want to sell your brand. Who are the ones who are going to pay for whatever you offer through products or service? And how do you know your client? How do you define your ideal client? Well, there's a couple of questions you can answer through the researching, like where are they? Where these people, where this client you want to buy your product, where they live? Where are they? Where does they socialize with others? What and where they buy their stuff? Food, clothes, what else? Everything they need, where they go and buy it. Do they go to malls, boutiques, supermarkets? Where they go? How they live, their lifestyle. Is it luxurious? Do they buy expensive stuff? You need to know even their economical situation, because guess one thing, your brand is not suited for everyone. Not all people will be able to pay for the service or the product you offer. For many entrepreneurs, this is a thing hard to hear, because every time we come out with an idea of a brand, of a product that we want to start selling, we think everyone will buy it, but no, that not happens. Not all people will be interested in our product or service. Not all of them will be able to afford it. So yeah, you need to think about that. And you will designing your brand for that client, that personality, that essence that you want to give it. That mission and vision is for that client you want to reach out, that client you want to make fall in love with your brand and become loyal to it. It's all about your client. So research for it, get to know him, and Design everything to make that person to fall in love. And also research your competition. This is good because it will help you understand how they manage themselves, how they last through times in the market, and what they do, how they do it. Researching it, not for comparison, but for understand how they do things and how you can improve that. And there's one question when researching the competition. There will be this question so important that will help you to realize your differentiator from others, your differentiator factor, that thing that your brand has that makes it different, special from other brands' existence, and is what I do and what they are not doing it nor doing it right. What do they do? They are not doing it right, but I can do it right, or I can do it better. What do I have to offer with my brand that the competition is not doing it? Ask yourselves that. Ask yourself that, and that will help you to find that special thing, that the je ne sais quoi characteristic of your brand that will make your brand different, and that it's another thing you will be communicating through visual elements, through visual identity. So here's the fact. Designing a brand and its branding isn't a matter of personal taste. It's about attracting the audience you want. They have to like it. Remember, this is strategic. And yes, it's not like it's forbidden for you to add some personal touches to the designing of your brand, to the designing of the visual identity. It's not forbidden, but you need to remember that it's all about your client. It's all about them, because those are the person, your client, it's the one, I'm sorry, your client is the one who's going to pay for what you sell, or what you offer. It's all about getting money, about getting clients, about being, it's about monetize your brand. So you need to attract your clients. So when designing your brand, think about your client, okay? And the competition, to find out what they are not doing that you can do and you can offer better than them. So here's a practical exercise that you can do. Now that you have your personal, your brand's personality all set through paper, you know, those things, those characteristics, our eyes cannot see it. So now we need to start communicating them through the visual. With this exercise, which is the mood board, the making of a mood board, you can start translating all those characteristics you already gave to your brand into visual. The mood board, it's an exercise that most of the designers we do before we start designing something. In my case, before I design a brand, I like to create a mood board so I can understand the feeling, I can understand where this brand is going, the vision of the client, if it works, what they're wanting, or if it clicks with the customer they want to reach. But also the fashion designers use this to create their collection. Even interior designers, they use the exercise when they're designing a space. It's a very fun and interesting exercise because it helps you to understand everything that you'll be working, and now you'll start watching it, using your sight, using the visual to understand it better. You can do it digital, maybe your phone or your computer, using any kind of app. You can use Canva or Picolash, so you can create your mood board over there. And taking a screenshots, for example, you can get into Pinterest and get screenshots for the different ideas you have for your brand's visual. But what I recommend, especially for someone that has never done this before, to create it like on a cardboard. You can paste a cardboard right in your wall, whatever you work, your workspace in the wall, and start doing this collage, cutting and pasting whatever you see out there that goes along with your visuals, your brand's visual, what you want to work, and I start pasting it all together. Like here, for example, these are different mood boards. This one is for a very feminine brand. As you can see, they took different images that have the color palette they want to use, that have that feeling they want to communicate through the images. And as you can see, it started getting shape. The visual started having a shape. This one is for another brand. I don't know actually what it is, but they have here, for example, the characteristic of the brand. For example, approachable, casual, stylish, sustainable, creative. It seems like it's for a clothing line, and they decide to put inside the mood board. They try to put here all the characteristics that these brands will have, which is approachable, casual. It's all about that. Give shape to all those characteristics you already gave to your brand, designed for your customer. Remember, it's all about your client, it's all about your customer. And of course, you can have your personal touch here. You can give your personal touch here. You can add some personal, because at the end of the day, you are the brand's owner and you want somehow to have something of you in there, because you want to feel like it belongs to you. And here's a little recommendations about the color palette. For example, pick 3 to 5 core colors, align with your brand's personality, and use consistently across all platforms. You can start with that. If you don't know how to design, for example, a logo, you can start with a color palette. You can start showing your brand with a consistent color palette. Shows those colors that go along with your brand's personality. Out there in the internet, there's tons of information about the colors that are recommended depending of the business, depending of the brand type. Also, there's a lot of information about the psychological meaning of colors that can help you to understand a little bit more and choose your color palette wisely. Take your time, do not rush, because this is a very creative exercise, and creativity cannot be forced. To the contrary, it has to be fun. So the same with typography. Choose one main font. The main font is the font that we use with the brand's name, that appears in the logo with the brand's name. That's the main font. We basically choose fonts that are really strong, with a very strong visual appearance. That's sometimes the main font. And then an accent font, which is the font that we use a secondary, are the ones that we use for the taglines or any information written in the different art. For example, during the stationery, to write the whole information about our business or the brand. And here, recommendations. Typography need to be easy to read. It's so important. It doesn't matter how beautiful it can be, but if it's not easy to read, you're losing, because people will lose interest, because they won't understand what they're reading. They won't understand anything. They will lose interest. So try to choose a font easy to read. Even the main font and the accent font, easy to read always. And that matches your brand's tone, needs to go along with it. For example, if it's an elegant brand, a modern brand, a playful brand, needs to match that tone. And the imagery style, which are the photos you would like to use, the illustrations, the illustration style that you would like to use, choose them that they follow the same feeling. Because as I said before, images, they communicate a feeling, they tell a story that connects with your brand. They give you a sense of experience, the connection of with your brand. So the photography, for example, could be clean, warm, bold, minimal, depending of your brand's personality, of your brand's essence. Try to make it at home. This is really fun. It's really interesting and gives you a wider visual understanding of your brand, where it goes. It's an amazing exercise. So try to make it at home with time and in a moment that you feel like focused, but try it. So we're ending, and even before I end up this workshop and I talk about visual identity, there's something that I want to make point of it. We talk about consistency is everything. In visually speaking, yes, it will give your brands this a status of authority, of a professionalism, trustworthy. But there's a cherry on top to make your visual identity more impactful, and it's customer service. This is the cherry on top. I always say it. I always say to my clients, why a customer service is the cherry on top for an impactful visual of your brand, because it's all about this. For example, there's some beautiful woman, well dressed. Everyone looks at her. She's so posh, poised. She looks amazing. And people want to get close to her because she looks so amazing. They want to know her. But by the time this woman starts talking, everything that comes out her mouth, it's like, sounds weird, nonsense, maybe rude. Maybe she start using curse words. And then the perception people might have in the beginning have about this woman, because she was all well dressed, changes once she starts speaking. It's the same with our brands, and it happens all the time. You see everywhere these beautiful brands with beautiful images, the logo, the color palette, their Instagram feed, it's amazing. Their website is beautiful, but by the time you start getting in touch with the brand, they have a bad customer service. So there, the whole perception that attracts you to start interacting with that brand falls down. They have the bad experience with the customer service, throws away all this beauty, all this aesthetic that can give you the visual identity. So this is so important. That's why consistency is everything. Not only with the visual, but the customer service. Everything, it starts from the first hello. Yeah, they were attracted by the logo. They were attracted by the color palette. They were attracted by the Instagram feed. But once you start talking to your customers or your clients, what is the experience they having? So make that match, make that go along, make that be cohesive, consistent. It all starts from there. They will fall in love, or they will just repel you, depending on how you start interacting. He says every touch point, post, story, email, message, or ad should give the experience expected to the customer. So try to surpass it. Because once they see this beauty of your brand, visually speaking, the customer might have an expectation. They have an expectation. They have this perception and expectation of what they will receive once they start in touch with you. So try to surpass the expectation of your customer. Your every touch point must look and sounds like it's from your brand. Must sounds authentic, and it's all about experience. So try to surpass it. Try to surpass your customer experience, so the visual identity will worth every element, every work, in every platform, in every format you use. Don't invest in a beautiful visual identity if you don't have this customer service. already designed in how you will attend. I think this is the first. Even if you start your brand already, but you don't have a impactful visual identity, have this first, then invest in visual, and you will have a very amazing brand that will last like as much time as you want it. Like it will last forever. So yeah, I wanted to make point of that, because I don't want you to do an amazing visual identity, but then your customer service make all that beauty fall down. Don't be a beautiful woman with a with a dirty mouth. I always say that brands needs to be a beautiful woman with a beautiful mouth. So to end with, visual identity is how people recognize, trust, and remember your brand. Visual identity is a growth tool, not an expense, as many entrepreneurs think. They think it's just an expense. No, you need to dress your brand to impress in the market you are on. And remember, you don't need to be big, you don't need to be big to look professional. You can start from the very beginning, looking amazing, professional, because you're giving something good. Trust in your brand and invest in it. So I think that will be it. If there's any questions, could you download your worksheet? If there's any question about everything, I hope I didn't took too long because there was a lot of information. If there's no questions, but anyway, I will give you here my contacts so you can write me whenever you want, and I will be more than glad to help, because I know there's a lot of information. You might want to have a little time to process it. You have any questions about the worksheet, how to do it, I'll be more than glad to help. You can contact me through Instagram, by email, even my WhatsApp, and I will be glad to help.
Thank you so much, Rosivonne. Anybody put last minute questions in the chat?
Dana, you're muted.
I'm muted. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Rosivonne, for hopping on today. Just so much amazing information. Wow, a lot to take in. I love it. And you guys have a worksheet to work on as well. So we're going to stay on for like 1 more minute so Rosivonne can answer any other questions, but I hope you can connect with her. And the recording will also be sent to your email as well.